When we look at human migration, history of human migration, we find that a group of people from the Urals range near Caucasus dispersed towards south and southeast direction, and that group settled down on India, and this portion was called later as India. And a second wave, along with the same time, of course, traveled towards the west of Urals, towards Spain and Africa, and settled there. This was the first human migration as recorded. The second migration took place, and that second wave moved from this area, that is Urals, towards what is now called Germany, Bulgaria, Romania, and England. The point we have to address ourselves is that while describing the human migration from the Ural Mountains and Caucasus, what is being stated is that subsequently the people who have moved out there intermingled with the people present in those areas in Spain, Africa, and Europe. The ethnic groups like Huns, Saxons, Vikings are their ancestors. And this is how the migration took place. And when you look at the history of Europe, you would always find that there has been a migration from Asia, and that normally coincided with the tsunami which happened. Much of that I will talk about later. Now, if, as is being made out, that the human migration, first human migration began from Urals and Caucasus to other areas, how do we account for some of the greatest archaeological finds being found in other areas, belonging to other areas which relate to Sanatana Dharma? And some of the earliest artifacts of Sanatana Dharma, for example, Podbyzhyn in Russia, people have found Pradyumna's city. And Urals, near Urals, you have Narodaya Mountains, which is named after Narada. And we do find the presence of Sanatana Dharma through the artifacts being found right from Australia up to South America, Central America, and North America. In Australia, even today we have an Aborigines performing the Trinetra dance of Lord Shiva. And there is a Gazette notification belonging to earlier period of Australia, when the government Gazette notification states that there is a group called the Sanatana Dharma Brahmins, Sanatana Brahmins of Australia. Then we do find the presence of Kashyapa. We do find the reference of Nazca lines in Peru, in Sundarakanda of Ramayana, where Sugriva directs his Vanar army to search for the abducted Sita. Lake Pukaki, the Ring of Fire, Cook's Island in New Zealand, near New Zealand, is being very accurately described by Valmiki in Sundarakanda. So, my take is that if the human dispersal were to take place from the Caucasus and Urals towards other areas, is that not logical to find the artifacts belonging to the races which were originally inhabiting in Urals and Caucasus range in other areas? As of yet, nothing of that sort has been found. The presence of the Ur civilization, there was an Ur civilization, but its remains have not been found anywhere else, even though it is recorded that it is being stated that they began the first human migration. And it's a matter of interest to know that there is a chapel of Lord Rama in Ur, in Iraq. And in the passing, I'll talk about it later, it will be of interest to note that the term Ur in Tamil means a city. I'll talk about the Tamil collections also. Now this is as far as the general, my take on this. The second observation I would like to make is that if, as the immigration theory states, when people from the Urals moved to west, south, and also to Africa from Urals, then how come the same migration theory states that they interacted with the people who were living in that area, say the tribes who were inhabiting Spain or Africa or Germany? How come? How is it that those people were present even before the migration began? So who were the first people? If people were already present in those areas, with whom the people from Urals have interacted with, from where did the people of those areas originate from? The third observation I would like to make is, there are a lot of references in Sanskrit and Tamil, a language of over 5,000 years of history. References have been made to the great floods, which is of course one can find in, which you can always find in Gilgamesh and all the other major religions do have this flood information. People call it legend, I don't call them, because all people uniformly cannot lie. All of them have been separated by huge distances. Okay? So, but that is not being accounted in this theory. Especially in Tamil literature, we find the remains of Tamil civilization have been found in Sumerian, Minoan, Maya civilization. And also the Sanatana remains also are found in all these places. If the human migration has preceded this civilization, how come only the Sanatana Dharma and Tamil remains are found throughout this world and not anything from the Caucasus? So this set me thinking, why don't we examine the fact whether there are any references in Indian texts, Puranas, literatures, Ilakya, Itihasa, and also in my mother tongue, Tamil. So, when I start, this is one area I was interested because I was curious to know, because this to me seems to be a contradiction. And another funniest thing I have noticed that Rama and Krishna are supposed to be Aryans. Okay, that theory, Aryan theory is demolished now, which is not current now because which is basically a concocted lie. We'll leave it at that. But still, a simple question. If Rama and Krishna were from the north of Vindhyas and Satpuras, how is it these two gods are portrayed as black and blue in color. Rama is a special blue in color, and Krishna is totally black. See, as you know, people from North India are fair in color. Only people from South India are Dravida. Dravida in Sanskrit means south. So, they are only black. Then this set the ball rolling for me to check up the information. Now, when I started checking up, contrary to what people have been spreading, basically misinformation, that Dravida Desa and Tamil culture was against the Aryans, so-called Aryans, North Indians, and that the Tamil civilization and culture was against the Sanatana Dharma, which is not a fact. We do have kings who were responsible for granting land to people, especially Brahmins, to promote Sanatana Dharma. And kings from South India have participated in Mahabharata war. Kings from South have participated in the Swayamvara of Nala, Damayanti, Rama and Panchali, Draupadi. In addition to that, the reference has been made in various Puranas to South Indian kings and also the spices and the tusks of elephants. This is also referred to by Herodotus and other Greek writers as well, and also Megasthenes, Strabo. So, I started checking whether there is any reference at all. The so-called North Indians in Indian Puranas, whether the ancestry, because the information from Tamil literature and also some Puranas very clearly indicate that there was a civilization which was far more advanced in Dravida Desa South. So when I started searching, based on all this, when I started searching in all the text, wherever the language, wherever the information is available, including the Western sources, the legends, I came across this in Bhagavata Purana, which clearly states the ancestors of Lord Rama, Ikshvaku dynasty. Lord Rama belongs to the Surya Vamsa or the solar dynasty of Ikshvaku who founded it. Rama came much later to Ikshvaku. That Ikshvaku king was the son of Manu, the first human being. That is why even today the name human is derived from the word Manu. Now, in Bhagavata Purana, I have found this sloka. This sloka very clearly states, let me read it out. Yosau Satyavrato Nama Rajarishi Dravideshwaraha Jananam Yotita Kalpante Labe Purusha Sevaya Savai Vaivasat Putroho Manur Asi Iti Sutam Tvattas Tasya Sutah Proktah Ikshvaku Pramukaha. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam 9.1.2 to 3. Let me read out the meaning word by word. Ya Asau, he who was known, Satyavrata, Nama by the name, Rajarishi, the saintly king, Dravida Ishwaraha, the ruler, lord or master or Dravida countries, Jananam, knowledge, Ya, one who, Atita Kalpante, at the end of last Kalpa. Kalpa is a time unit. Lebe, received, Purusha Sevayaha, by rendering service to the Purusha. Sa, he, why indeed, Vaivaswataha, or Vivaswa, Putraha, son, Manu Asid, was the Vaivaswata Manu, Iti, thus Sutam, I have already heard, Tvatta, from you, Tasya, his Sutaha, sons, Proktaha, have been explained. Ikshvaku Pramukha, headed by Ikshvaku. Now, I will be I'll be giving you the meaning in one stretch. The saintly king and ruler of Dravida countries, who was known by the name of Satyavrata, at the end of the last kalpa, that is before the dissolution, that is the pralaya, received knowledge by service to the Purusha. He indeed was Vaivasvata Manu, the son of Vivaswan. His sons have been proclaimed as the kings, famous as the Ikshvakus. So this very clearly states that the ancestor of Rama and the father of Ikshvaku, who founded the solar dynasty or Surya Vamsa, was from Dravida Desa, that is from south of Vindhya and Satpuras. He was Vaivasvata Manu. In the next video, I shall explain where exactly was Manu born, where was he located in south